Welcome back. This afternoon, you're listening to the Todd Laborowitz Show, Real Estate Radio on Salem Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. I'm your host, Todd Laborowitz, and now we're speaking with Jim Brown. He's a realtor at Turning Point Real Estate, and he's also president of town commissioners for the town of Poolesville, a.k.a. mayor.
AKA, I like that. Yes, I'm the president of town commissioners, but that's way too long a title to give out to anybody else, so we go with mayor.
Are you allowed to say mayor?
Yeah, it's in our code. I'm allowed.
Well, because I introduced you from the last show as the mayor.
That was good timing then. Yes, I am definitely the mayor.
Okay, so we're not in trouble.
No, I'm elected, and that's the title they give you.
Very cool.
I know.
How long? How many years have you been in?
I've been the mayor for 2 years, and I'm actually I was the vice mayor for almost 4 years before that.
Oh, wow.
So we had an election a couple of years ago, and it was a little bit of out with the old and a little bit of in with the new. And
so people like
that's
you.
where I came in. So far, it feels that way, yeah.
Very cool.
You know, pretty public between selling a lot of real estate, having a lot of signs out everywhere, and then I try to get in front of as many groups as possible to talk about Poolesville.
Very cool. Well, we talked about Poolesville before on the show. It's a beautiful place.
I've heard. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. We've got a good thing going on. It's kind of magical there right now where we've got this great combination of we're not crowded. We've only got 5,300 people. We have a really slow growth curve. And we actually need people, and we actually are looking, our schools are underpopulated.
What?
So I know. It's hard to imagine Montgomery County schools, probably one of the best clusters in the best school system in the country, and we need students.
That's amazing. Plus, you can get a house with land.
Yeah, you can. That's a good point. We have 5 or 6 really nice neighborhoods, but the school cluster itself is actually made up of the whole up-county area, which includes most of the ag reserve. And you can get a house with land, and you can get a place where if you like farm living, but you still want to live close to the D.C. area, that you can do it there too.
Wow. So let's talk about the commute. Because a lot of people that live in Poolesville, they commute back and forth to the D.C. area. And I keep hearing how beautiful it is of a ride.
Yeah, you know, probably the best part about the commute is when you're coming from Poolesville, 2 things. Most of the people that live in Poolesville, if they commute to the D.C. area, they most of the time go down River Road and head straight into the district that way through even Bethesda, or very rarely do you hit the Beltway, come in through, it's almost always back roads. And Poolesville's major commuting routes are up to Frederick, over to Germantown. Some people go to Leesburg, commute to Leesburg, and then plenty of them go to D.C. The other thing that's really kind of changed about the whole commute is that the town acquired FiOS about a year and a half ago, and that's changed things dramatically in terms of the amount of people that actually hit the road to go to work. They may only hit the road 3 or 4 days a week now, and they used to do it 5 days a week. So we've actually seen a little bit less traffic due to the amount of people that are telecommuting, which has made the roads a little bit nicer and a little bit better for everybody.
Perfect. Well, my experience is we just had a baby.
Yes.
And I
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I love living in the city, and I'm in Rockville Town Center. And my brother has 4 kids.
Oh, okay.
And some are 17. The youngest is maybe like 8 or 9.
Tell him to come to Poolesville.
Well, the thing is he's in Howard County.
Ah, okay.
And he has to drive to work about 15, 25 minutes per way.
Mm-hmm.
He said it is the most peaceful ride.
Yeah.
It's the one time he can clear his mind.
Yes.
He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to get anything for anybody. And he says, trust me, he goes, you want that commute.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people that there's something to be said about going through the cornfields, as well as listening to music that you want to listen to is a great decompression device.
And catching up on phone calls.
Yeah, well, I've heard that too, yes. It's a nice time that's, and it's usually, I said, very little traffic.
So it's like a whole nother world. 15 years ago, commuting is so different than it is today. Yeah,
our guys said from Poolesville, it's still a major commuting location to go to D.C. It's the people that live in Poolesville, a lot of them work in D.C. Mm-hmm. And we actually did a survey a few years ago to see where everybody goes to when they're in Poolesville. And the majority of them were Rockville, Germantown, Gaithersburg, but a substantial contingent went to the district every day. Most of them commute early in the morning They're back on their way back home 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They've usually got a full afternoon in front of them, and they're relaxed by the time they get there.
Wow. It's a whole nother lifestyle.
It is.
But it's enjoyable.
Yeah. I said we've got magic happening there right now between our school system. We have a good kind of a yin and a yang of the real estate market where we have houses that if they're priced right and in good shape, they're definitely going to sell. We rarely see multiple offers on houses, but we do sometimes. And we also have houses that are in the entire spectrum of pricing from you can buy a house in Poolesville for $170,000, or you can buy one for $2 million if you want.
Wow.
And with only 5,300 residents, that only translates to about 1,800 houses. And said we kind of have the full spectrum of them.
Perfect. Well, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I have with me Jim Brown, Realtor for Turning Point Real Estate, and also President of Town Commissioners of Town of Poolesville, a.k.a. Mayor. I am your host, Todd Laborowit, and you're listening to Salem Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. Now, Jim, for a long time you've been in the printing business, and then you transitioned over to the real estate market. But you didn't just transition in because you also, your whole adult life, you've been buying and selling real estate. So you got a good feel for the industry.
Yeah, it was actually the transit. First of all, Todd, selling and helping people, that's the same profession. Whether it's you talk about widgets or real estate or cars or printing. I mean, I love to sell. I love to meet people. I find people really interesting, and I feel like I fit in with all types of strata of folk. Turned out real estate just happened to be the best, I'd say, convenient and also localized way to monetize all the connections and the people I've met. Real estate was a pretty easy transition from printing to real estate for me. And I can tell you, having a background in buying and selling my own houses, that was helpful. But in the end, having a bent towards meeting people and talking to people and finding interest in their families has been probably the best part of real estate.
Very nice. So you found your niche.
I did, yeah. Well, I mean, I got elected to one niche, which is I always wanted to have work with a town that was similar to the town that I grew up in. Believe it or not, I'm 54, and I grew up in McLean, Virginia. And McLean was a lot like Poolesville back when I was a little kid. So I wanted to find a place that was like McLean, where we had a great small town feel. And Poolesville has a true identity. There's plenty of towns out there that don't have an identity. They basically are located right next to another town, or their school borders change frequently. Poolesville, there's only one Poolesville. It's the entire up-county areas, our school cluster. We're never going to merge with anybody.
Well, let's get back to the real estate side.
Sure.
I want to take the mayor hat off for now.
The mayor hat off.
Okay, let's go back to the Turning Point Real Estate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies that are out there.
Yes.
And a lot of people sign up with different companies. Why did you choose Turning Point Real Estate, which is a national brand?
Yes, Turning Point was interesting for me. I checked out a lot of other brokerages, and there's plenty of great ones out there. But I love the leadership at Turning Point Real Estate. Joe Anselmo is one of our brokers. He's very well known. I was in the business. I've been in the business for just 4 years. I bought and sold plenty of my own houses before that. But getting to know the leadership of Turning Point and knowing that I needed mentoring no matter what anyway, I've got the sales side kind of down, but the technical part of it was something that I felt like I really needed to bone up on. So going with Turning Point, they have a lot of continuing education. I can call any one of 3 or 4 people that have done 1,000+ transactions and get a hold of them and ask them about scenarios. I don't really need it too much these days, but when I do, I know the guys are there. And they've got a great family atmosphere. I really enjoy them. They're in Urbana, too, which is about 15, 20 minutes away from Poolesville. Easy to get there, and super nice people.
So you like the culture there, and they have good training.
Yeah, the continuing ed is always great there, and really the continuing ed is a little bit of the school hard knocks. They just talk about difficult situations so that you are a little more prepared when you run into them. We have a little bit of fluff usually at the beginning of the meeting, and then we just talk about the difficult parts.
So what are you seeing out there? Are you seeing a lot of inventory? Are you seeing multiple offers? What are you seeing in the market today? Through your glasses?
Yeah, so the Up County area, the whole entire Up County area of Montgomery County, this is north of Germantown, north of Gaithersburg, north of Rockville. That Up County area is in good shape. It's not super hot, but it's also got, and inventory is increasing just a little bit, but it's just a good time right now to be both buying and selling it. Customers are finding buyers are finding sellers, and if your house is in good shape, you're going to sell your house.
Okay. Now, you're the mascot for Poolesville because you're the mayor.
Sure.
So is all your business in Poolesville?
Probably 80% of it's in Poolesville, but what I find myself doing is people will come in and they'll want to hear the things that how I present houses in Poolesville, and then I do the same thing out there too in other places.
Great. Well, what I'd like to offer you, our listeners, is the opportunity to get in touch with Jim Brown. Just call or text me at 301-467-8444. That number again is 301-467-8444, and you can learn more information about real estate in Poolesville, Maryland. And coming up next, we got Donna Wilkinson, who's the linebacker for DC Divas football.
You have spent your life providing for and protecting your family. Trust your legacy to the attorneys at Alleghi Anderson. At Alleghi Anderson, we know how important it is for every person to have an estate plan, and so we've made our estate plan packages affordable to every person. The comprehensive plans at Alleghi Anderson include healthcare powers of attorney and financial powers of attorney. Give your family peace of mind in an uncertain world. Visit AlleghiAnderson.com, that's ALEGI Anderson.com, and set up a free estate planning consultation.